Hi, Gene here with today's thought. And today we're going to talk about immigration, some possible good news. Well, it's actually good news, but it's just a small glimmer maybe, but it could be, well, I hope it's heralding a sea change. Now, this is New York City. I've mentioned in the past, if you've been watching these videos for a while, then you know that I live in Tennessee now, but I moved here from New York, New York City, where I lived for a little over 40 years. I moved here maybe in the beginning of 2019. So I take interest in what's going on in New York, and they've been having a little bit of an immigration problem because they declared themselves a sanctuary city, and the governor of Texas started shipping immigrants, unlawful aliens, to New York City, and people laughed at the idea in the beginning, but they're not laughing now, at least not in New York, because now they've got tens of thousands of these unlawful immigrants, and they had them. Well, there's a well-known hotel, the Roosevelt Hotel, which is right next to Grand Central, and the city was housing unlawful aliens there, and they decided they can't take any more, and they kicked some of them out, and they're not letting any more in. So all these unlawful aliens are camping out on the street, and they're in other places just wandering around the street. The point is that this sanctuary city, because sanctuary city means that all these unlawful aliens are welcome. And you had the mayor screaming, well, calling and asking and calling and finally screaming for help from the federal government, and it's not coming. In fact, there was I forgot what paper it was in, but or website, but the headline was federal government or Biden to New York City dropped dead, which heralds, if you know your history, or if you're as old as I am, New York City was going bankrupt in 1974, and Gerald Ford was president, and New York City asked for a bailout, and Gerald Ford said no, and the headline was in the New York Post, Ford to New York City dropped dead. So it's an echo of that. So that's kind of funny in itself. But Adams was asking for more and more helpful, federal aid, and then he started distributing flyers at the border, at the southern border, saying, if you come into the country, don't come to New York City because we don't have room for you anymore. We don't have any room. Now, if he should have said, it would have been very simple to say, we don't have any room in the United States. Go back to your own country or stay in Mexico. We don't have room for you here. And he didn't do that. But that was then, this is now. And I don't know if he's changed any flyers, but I saw a film clip, a video clip of him today saying that, calling for the first time for the government to do something about the border. That's what I said. I've said all along, and many other people, and maybe you watching this. Well, don't talk about the city if you don't want these unlawful aliens coming into your city. Well, maybe the rest of the country doesn't either. Maybe these border towns in Texas don't want to deal with it either, and they're much smaller and less well equipped than New York. So why don't you just say, seal the border? You talk to Joe Biden, seal the border. And it looks like the dam may be starting to break, because I heard Mayor Adams say that, Eric Adams say that this morning, saying, we have to do something about the border, which we conservatives have been saying all along. And we'll see what happens after this, if momentum builds based on this, if it's like an unlawful immigration snowball of a change, and it's going to grow. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But for now, that's my thought. Thanks for stopping by. If you could subscribe, that would really be great. But go and share this video with anything would benefit from it. But most of all, come back and see me again. I would love to see all of you again. And until I do see all of you again, bye.